Hello, my name is William Hewitt. I am your instructor for Business Administration 104. It is an online class. My email address is right here, bhewitt@cgcc.edu, and that is always going to be the best way to contact me. I monitor that regularly through the day and usually get back to you the same day I have in the syllabus. I will guarantee that I will get to you within 48 hours, but rarely do I need that much time. Like I said, generally I will get back to you very quickly. The textbook you will need is Contemporary Mathematics for Business and Consumer, 7th edition, copyright 2015. And the things that you will really need for the class is probably some notebook paper for doing homework and a calculator with functions. And what I mean by that is that needs to have an algebraic, like an exponent y key on there. It'll really help with some of the complex mathematics that we will use. If you don't have that, that's okay, but it would really nice to have a functions bunch of tabs on your calculator. You don't need to have a graphing calculator, but with some functions. Usually you can get those for between $10 and $15, and you'd be pretty happy with that. On the videos, I use my phone, and it has those functions on that, so you may be able to get by with using your phone. Technology is a wonderful thing. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, and you're already doing the Getting Started video, which is perfect. Other things I'd like you to do right away is the Welcome to BA 104. I'm going to tap on that. And it tells you all sorts of really good information, how the class is set up, how grading will work a little bit, how to outline your time, how tests work. One of the things that I would like to highlight, though, in our talk here is that this is really not a self-paced class. We have the entire book. You'll notice when you pick it up that there's a lot of chapters in there. We go through a fair chunk of them, and therefore we are pacing ourselves 3 chapters every 2 weeks. So you need to regulate your time. Normal classes you would have about 4 to 5 hours of classwork each week, plus an equal amount of that, if not more, outside doing homework. So there's a lot of material in here, so you need to focus your time appropriately to make sure that you are still you're caught up. Now, the other interesting thing is that we are doing 3 chapters each unit. So you have basically every 5 days a chapter is due. So the first week, probably by about Thursday, you would need that first assessment handed in to me kind of over the weekend, and then maybe by Tuesday the second chapter test in, and then by the following Saturday at midnight, that would be the final, or the 3rd chapter is due. So there are 3 chapters in each unit. So I'm going to back up here. I'm going to go back up to our main page. Here's a little instructor introduction about myself, and then probably the most important to you is going to be the syllabus. In the syllabus, again, it's going to go over everything you need. The course description, you need to probably have a Math 20 or above, Writing 115, Reading 115 in order to be successful in here. Here are the course objectives and goals, extended learning outcomes, ADA information, grading, homework, how that works. That's very important. Please read through that so you understand. And then probably the most important is how grades will work. Notice it's a percentage. Form posts, 10%. Every week or every unit, they have a form that you will need to respond to, and respond not only to me, but to your other classmates as well. So there's a discussion going back and forth. And that's 10% of your grade. Chapter quizzes, unit exams, final exam, all of that. So please read all of that carefully. Okay, minimum technical requirements. This uses Microsoft type products for the tests. The tests are in Word. So you would need that on your computer or a very compatible program that would work with Word. Apple, it's a little tougher to work with apples. I'm not saying it can't be done. You're going to have to be a little creative of either saving it as a PDF or a docx or something so I can read it. A lot of times students will send me stuff off of their computer, but my computer will not read it, and that's going to be a problem. So please make sure you're following these minimum technical requirements. The college library has the required software on their computers if you don't have one at home that does. Calendar of due dates. Basically, that's going to send you over to this that says assignment. So I'm just going to click on this. Notice that these dates are not the correct ones, but the time is what I want you to point out with. So Unit 1, Chapter 4 quiz, everything is going to be due for sure that second week at 11:55 p.m. That's when things technically close down. Now, I may not stay up to grade papers at 11:55. I'm probably going to get them Sunday morning, but that is when they are due, and they're considered late. As I kind of scan down this, you'll notice that there are 5 units in a final. So every unit is 2 weeks. And the due dates really should be, like that first one should be about Thursday. The second one should be that following Tuesday. And then the third one that Saturday, and then you've got your unit test on Saturday too. So you kind of pace yourself. There's a lot of work, and so again, allot your time appropriately. Now you can either do the back arrow, or if you just go to this right here at the top, which is our term and course, and that'll take you right back to the main page. Okay, some additional things, use as needed. Before we get to that here, the netiquette on there, how we respond to our fellow classmates and myself, please read through both of those. Those are just general rules for internet usage. These are things that just reference this next section: technical support help, who to contact, online learning orientation. I have, as part of the course that we'll view here, are PowerPoints. And you may not necessarily have PowerPoint in your online programs or on your computer, but you can get a free download viewer, which is all you would need then, because you're not going to have to create any PowerPoints, you're just going to view them. So here is a link to a free downloadable PowerPoint viewer. If you're not familiar on how to get logged on and stuff with Moodle, hopefully you are, because you're viewing this, but additional information for Moodle is here. Questions and answers, again, in Moodle. Distance learning resources, some more information on ADA. Again, if you have a disability, please make sure that I get that information. I would have no way to know unless you provide that for me. And then a link to student services. Okay, as we're scrolling on down here, instructor's form. This is where I will send information to you. It says required to check it a couple of times a week. There's no set time where I'm going to log on to give you information, so just check it when you log on to work every time. That's probably the best way to do it. I will provide little tips. If I see a trend in homework, I'll address that there. And don't leave me messages there. Again, send me an email. That's not where you would get back to me, because again, I don't check that every day. I'm going to check it a couple of times a week when I'm putting information for you. So if you need to get a hold of me, send me an email. And then this last is Coffee Shop. That's basically for you. If you want a study buddy or looking for a ride from campus sometime, that's where you put information to your fellow students. That's not something that I monitor. Okay, before we move on, this next section is simply for resource. Chapters 1 to 3 are not covered as part of the course, but contain background knowledge you should already have. Use the textbook and these resources to help you review chapters 1 to 3. If you feel the need to refresh your understanding of these topics, you can use all of these YouTubes. So here are the goals and objectives. So we can go ahead and look at those real quick. Reading whole numbers in numerical and word form, rounding whole numbers to a specified place value, etc. Go through and read all of those. If you feel you have that down pretty good and you've reviewed the chapters in the book, great. If you think you need a little bit of work, I've got lots of YouTubes that cover each section, or try to. So, place value. Here's one in powers of 10, multiplying whole numbers. If you have a few minutes, go ahead and review that, because again, this is going to be prerequisite knowledge that I'm going to assume you already have. So when we start the assignments, you're going to be able to apply that information. And then I also have some PowerPoints, okay, that you can view. All right. Let's look at Unit 1. Okay. So Unit 1 says here weeks 1 and 2 of the term. So each unit's going to be 2 weeks. So we're going to cover 3 chapters in those 2 weeks. Okay. Here we have an introduction video. I'd like you to watch that and read through that. Unit 1 assignments. Let's take a look at that. Okay. How this is laid is, it looks pretty long, but it's really not all that bad. I just lay every little thing I wanted you to do. You can print this page out and then check it off as you go if you want. Might be an easy way to do that. So the first thing I have you do is read the chapter. That is really critical. And I'm going to remind you in some of the videos as we go through to read the information first. Read the whole chapter, because the business information is there. I don't really address a ton of the business terms and how that is applied on the business side. I'm going to address mostly the math in the videos. So the business side is going to be up to you, and that's where the reading comes in. You need that background information in order for you to be successful in the chapter, because that background information tells you how to do the math. Okay? Complete the concept review at the end. And then complete the assessment practice test. Okay? Download and complete the chapter test in Moodle. Okay? Read the chapter again. Do section 5.1 odds. Now, I've assigned odds for a reason, because the answers are in the back of the book, so you can match up, see how you're doing. I'm not going to be there to give you feedback as you're doing your homework. You can certainly send me those questions as an email, but that's why I gave you the odds, because the answers are in the back. And you can see how this goes each chapter. Okay? And then when we get down to the end, it's download and complete the unit test. Okay? So you're doing the chapter tests, you're doing the unit tests, all of those things in order to be successful each unit. Okay, again, we can go back up to hit our course, and that takes us back to the main page. So I'm going to scan back down here. So there are the assignments. The objectives are very important for you to read each week. Okay? Each chapter is going to have a set of objectives that if you do all the assignments, you will hopefully have met all of these objectives. All right? And I'm just going to back arrow here. Now, resources. These are optional. Everything up here is required. So if it has a required, you need to do those. Optional, that's up to you. I provided some additional resources. They're YouTubes on various topics that are in the chapter. Balancing your checkbook, preparing a bank reconciliation, etc. Percent increase and decrease, how that works. These are topics that are in each chapter. Here are the requirements. I have provided you a video. In fact, let's just take a look at one. Here's chapter 4, section 1. It's going to come up and looks like this. We'll just start it.
I decided the best way to look at how to do section 4.1 would just be to pull up the answer book here and to just kind of show you how things have been filled in.
Okay, so that's kind of a sample. Each topic is going to have a lecture where I'm going to explain the key topics in each course. And I want you to watch each one of those. Okay, so each section is going to have some information that I created. Sometimes they're a little long, or the story problems or word problems I've broken out. That's why you'll see a continued. It's either the unit's a little long or it's word problems that I wanted to take some additional time to go over with you. So each section in the book is going to have a video to go along with it. And then last but not least, you're going to have a PowerPoint. And each PowerPoint is going to go along with the chapter. I have provided some additional audio in the sections. You're going to see some of the audio symbols up in the top right-hand corner. If you tap on that, you'll get some additional information. Each week, there isn't a form. The form is required. Okay, that's worth points. You get graded on that. And it's you're responding not only to me, but again to your fellow classmates. Here we have the quizzes, the unit tests, and then there's upload. Now I'm going to do a separate video and show you how to do those. But just here, when you tap on that, your test will come up, and then you're going to download that to your desktop, work on it, and then you'll upload it to me so I can grade it. Again, we'll go over that in a separate video to introduce Unit 1. Okay, so that's kind of how the chapter is laid out. I will review a lot of this last section in the introduction to Week 1 video because it's very important. But that's kind of how it's laid out. It's a really interesting textbook, a lot of good business information in it. And I enjoy this class. I think it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you will too. So again, welcome to BA 104. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Again, if you have questions, email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as we can. And well, again, welcome to the course.